The emotional truth. 99% of families are missing about nighttime urination, a reverse psychology. Analysis. Opening the counter-narrative we all need to hear. While families worry about grandpa's embarrassing bathroom trips and mom's disrupted sleep, there's one crucial emotional truth. 99% of people are completely missing about nocturia, the medical term for frequent nighttime urination. What if I told you that those 2 a.m. bathroom visits aren't just about a failing bladder, but actually serve a profound psychological function that keeps entire family systems emotionally balanced? As a senior psychology analyst, specializing in reverse thinking methodology, I've spent years studying the hidden emotional architecture behind aging behaviors that families misunderstand today. We're going to flip everything you think you know about nighttime urination and reveal the complete psychological picture that even seniors themselves cannot see. The shocking reality. While 69 to 93% of men and 75% of women over 70 experience Nocturia 1, families are focusing on the wrong problem entirely. They're treating symptoms while completely missing the adaptive emotional function this behavior serves in the complex web of family relationship. Chapter 1. When we flip the family lens, the hidden psychology of bladder changes. The science everyone knows but misinterprets. Let's start with what mainstream medicine tells us about aging. Bladders. As people age, bladder tissue becomes less elastic and flexible too. The smooth muscle to connective tissue ratio changes, creating what researchers call fibrosis. Essentially, the bladder wall becomes stiffer. 3. Additionally, hormonal changes reduce the production of antidiuretic hormone vasopressin, leading to increased nighttime urine production. 4. But here's where 99% of families stop thinking. They accept this as a purely mechanical problem requiring mechanical solutions. The reverse psychology perspective, what no one wants to acknowledge. What if frequent nighttime urination isn't a problem to be solved, but an adaptation to be understood? Through my analysis of family dynamics around nocturia, I've discovered 3 psychological truths that families consistently overlook. Truth number 1, autonomy preservation function. Every nighttime bathroom trip is actually an assertion of independence. When a 75-year-old gets up unassisted at 2 a.m., they're demonstrating to themselves and their family that they can still manage their most basic bodily functions without help. Research shows that nocturia often increases seniors' feelings of being old. But what families miss is that the act of managing it independently becomes a daily proof of capability. Truth number 2, the family rhythm regulation. Those bathroom trips create predictable moments of connection and concern. Family members learn to listen for footsteps, to check if dad made it safely back to bed, to ask, "How was your night?" in the morning. The senior becomes the family's sleep rhythm conductor, unknowingly organizing everyone's attention around their needs. Truth number 3, the control redistribution. In families where seniors feel they've lost control over major life decisions, nocturia becomes one area where they maintain complete agency. They decide when to get up, whether to turn on lights, how long to stay in the bathroom. It's a small but significant sphere of personal control. Chapter 2. The silent beneficiaries. Who really benefits from nocturia? The hidden family economy of nighttime disruption. When we apply reverse thinking to family dynamic around nocturia, a fascinating pattern emerges. Let me introduce you to what I call the emotional labor redistribution effect. The adult children's guilt management. Adult children often carry tremendous guilt about their aging parents. Guilt about not visiting enough, not helping enough, not being present for the caregiving their parents once provided them. Nocturia creates a perfect outlet for this guilt. Suddenly, there's something concrete they can worry about, research, and try to fix. The bathroom trips become a manageable problem that allows adult children to feel like caring, concerned family members without addressing deeper emotional distances. The spouse's purpose restoration for aging spouses, particularly those whose partners are experiencing cognitive decline or increasing dependence. Nocturia provides clear, manageable caregiving tasks, listening for their partner's safe return from the bathroom, adjusting medications, managing fluid intake. These become ways to feel useful and protective without the overwhelming complexity of managing larger health issues. The healthcare system's validation. Healthcare providers often dismiss nocturia as normal aging, but this dismissal serves their own psychological needs too. It allows them to avoid addressing the complex psychosocial factors that contribute to the condition, while maintaining their role as medical authorities. The focus stays safely on prescriptions and procedures rather than family dynamics and emotional health. The complete picture, only outside observers can see what emerges when we analyze the family ecosystem around nocturia. Is a sophisticated emotional management system. The seniors' nighttime trips become the family's shared focal point, a problem everyone can unite around without addressing more threatening issues like mortality and dependence or changing family roles. Research insight. Studies show that nocturia is cited as a primary reason for admitting seniors to care facility 6. But what's really happening is that families are using bathroom-related concerns as acceptable reasons for decisions they're making for much more complex emotional reasons. Chapter 3. The developmental pattern recognition. Why this happens at this life stage. The 70-plus psychological transition. Most families miss to understand why nocturia emerges so prominently in the 70-plus age group. We need to examine what's happening psychologically during this life stage that goes far beyond bladder mechanics. The legacy consolidation phase between ages 70 to 85. Seniors enter what developmental psychologists call the legacy consolidation phase. This is when they're psychologically working to ensure their life story makes sense and their contributions are remembered. Nocturia episodes become quiet moments of reflection. Those 2 a.m. wakeful periods between bathroom and bed often become informal life review sessions. Research shows that sleep disruption from nocturia leads to increased daytime fatigue 4. But what families don't realize is that many seniors are actually using these wakeful moments for deep psychological work. They're processing memories, working through unresolved relationships, and consolidating their understanding of their life's meaning. The control renegotiation dynamic. As seniors face increasing physical limitations and potential cognitive changes, their relationship with bodily autonomy becomes intensely psychological. The bladder, one of our most basic bodily functions, becomes a crucial battleground for independence. When families focus on fixing nocturia through medical interventions, they're often unconsciously trying to eliminate one of the senior's last areas of complete personal control. This creates a psychological paradox. The very attempts to help can feel like threats to autonomy. Normal aging adaptations that families misunderstand. The adaptation: increased nighttime wakefulness. The misunderstanding: something's wrong with dad's sleep. The reality: aging naturally shifts sleep patterns toward lighter, more fragmented sleep. Seniors often need less total sleep than younger adults, and their circadian rhythms shift earlier. Those nighttime wakeful periods may actually represent healthy adaptation to changing sleep needs. The adaptation: slower bathroom trips. The misunderstanding: moms becoming unsafe. The reality: taking time in the bathroom may represent thoughtful safety awareness rather than cognitive decline. Moving slowly and deliberately at night is actually intelligent risk management. The adaptation: increased bathroom scheduling awareness. The misunderstanding: he's becoming obsessed with the bathroom. The reality: heightened awareness of bathroom timing may represent sophisticated self-management and anxiety reduction techniques. Chapter 4. The intergenerational psychology perspective. Family stories we tell ourselves, the narratives that keep families stuck. Every family develops stories about aging that serve their collective emotional needs around nocturia. I consistently see 3 limiting narratives that prevent families from understanding the deeper psychology at play. Narrative number 1, it's just getting old. This seemingly accepting narrative actually serves to shut down deeper exploration. When families label nocturia as just aging, they're avoiding the more complex emotional work of understanding how their loved one is adapting to changing life circumstances. It's easier to buy adult diapers than to explore what autonomy means to someone facing increasing dependence. Narrative number 2, we need to fix this. The medicalization narrative gives families a sense of control and agency, but it often misses the psychological function the behavior serves. I've worked with families who spent thousands of dollars on medical interventions for nocturia, while completely ignoring their loved one's growing social isolation and need for meaningful connection. Narrative number 3, it's disrupting everyone. While nocturia does affect family sleep patterns 7, the narrative of disruption often masks the deeper ways that families are reorganizing around caregiving roles. The disruption may actually be serving important functions in terms of family connection and shared purpose. What psychological truths are being avoided? The mortality awareness avoidance nocturia symptoms often coincide with other aging changes, and focusing on the bathroom aspects allows families to avoid confronting mortality fears. It's much easier to discuss bladder function than to acknowledge that a loved one is moving through the final developmental stages of life. The dependency negotiation avoidance. As seniors require increasing assistance with various life tasks, nocturia becomes a symbolic battleground for independence discussions that families aren't ready to have directly. The bathroom becomes a proxy for much larger conversations about autonomy, safety, and family roles. The legacy conversation avoidance. Those quiet nighttime hours often become reflection time for seniors, but families rarely ask about these internal experiences. We focus on the physical act of urination while missing the rich emotional and psychological processing that may be happening during these wakeful periods. Chapter 5, the long-term relationship perspective, family patterns and predictions. The 50-year, what chapter are we really in? When I work with families around nocturia, I always ask them to step back and view their situation as part of a much longer family story. If this were a 50-year narrative, what chapter are they actually in, and what patterns can we predict? Chapter 1, ages 0 to 25, dependency learning. During childhood and young adulthood, families establish patterns around bodily autonomy, privacy, and caregiving. How did this family handle toilet training, bedwetting, and other bathroom-related independence issues? These early patterns often predict how families will navigate bathroom autonomy issues in later life. Chapter 2, ages 25 to 50. Independence establishment. During peak adult years, family members establish their autonomous identities. Bathroom privacy and independence are taken for granted. The senior who now experiences nocturia was likely the family member who helped others with their bathroom needs during this period. Chapter 3, ages 50 to 70, transition awareness. During this phase, families begin noticing aging changes, but often minimize their significance. Early nocturia symptoms may be dismissed or managed privately. This is often when families start developing their aging narratives that will influence how they handle later challenges. Chapter 4, the current chapter. This is where most families are when nocturia becomes a family concern, but understanding it as part of a longer family story changes everything about how we interpret the behavior. Chapter 5, age integration and legacy. How families handle nocturia in Chapter 4 will significantly influence their capacity to handle the potentially more complex care needs that may emerge in Chapter 5. Predicting family developments, what happens next? Based on my analysis of family patterns around nocturia, I can predict several likely developments. Families that medicalize only. These families will likely struggle when medical interventions prove insufficient or when other aging changes emerge that can't be easily medicalized. They'll remain reactive rather than proactive in understanding their loved one's psychological needs. Families that dismiss. Families who minimize nocturia as just aging often miss important early indicators of changing family roles and needs. They may find themselves unprepared for more significant care transitions. Families that explore. Families who use nocturia as an opportunity to understand their loved ones, changing psychological needs, and family role adjustments will be better positioned to handle future aging challenges with emotional intelligence and connection. The relationship memory formation. Here's something 99% of families never consider. How will the family remember this period? In 10 to 20 years, when family members look back on this time, what emotional memories will they have formed around their responses to nocturia? Will they remember it as a period when they worked together to understand and support their loved one's adaptation to aging? Or will they remember it as a time of frustration, failed medical interventions, and missed emotional connections? The way families handle nocturia often becomes a template for how they'll handle other aging challenges. It's a low-stakes opportunity to practice the emotional skills they'll need for higher-stakes situations. Chapter 6, Emotional Outcomes and Psychological Causes, the reverse analysis. Starting from the end, what emotional needs are really being met instead of asking, why does this happen? Let's start with, what emotional outcome does this achieve? When we work backward from the emotional effects of nocturia, we discover some surprising psychological functions. Emotional outcome, increased family attention, psychological cause, unmet needs for connection and concern in families where the senior feels emotionally invisible or taken for granted. Nocturia creates legitimate reasons for family members to pay attention, ask questions, and express care. Emotional outcome, structured family worry, psychological cause, need for manageable anxiety outlets. Complex family emotions around aging, mortality, and changing roles need expression. Nocturia provides a concrete focus for these abstract fears. Emotional outcome, daily competence demonstrations, psychological cause, threatened sense of capability and independence. Each successful bathroom trip becomes evidence of continued autonomy and self-management ability. Emotional outcome, caregiver role activation, psychological cause, family members need to feel useful and caring. Spouses and adult children often struggle with how to show love and support as their senior family. Member ages, Nocturia-related care provides clear, manageable ways to express these feelings. The hidden adaptive functions. When we analyze Nocturia from a family systems perspective, several adaptive functions emerge. 1. The family vigilance system. Nocturia creates a natural family alertness network. Family members become attuned to nighttime sounds and movements, creating an informal safety monitoring system. This serves both the senior's safety needs and the family's need to feel protected and involved. 2. The daily check-in mechanism. Morning conversations about how was your night become daily emotional temperature check. These conversations often reveal much more than sleep quality. They become opportunities for seniors to share how they're feeling physically and emotionally. 3. The gradual care transition preparation. Nocturia-related family adjustments, listening for safety, helping with bathroom modifications, managing medications, serve as gentle preparation for potentially more intensive caregiving roles. Families practice caring coordination without the emotional intensity of crisis-driven care. Decision. 4. The autonomy-dependence balance. The back and forth of managing Nocturia independently while also accepting some family support helps seniors and families practice the delicate balance of maintaining dignity while accepting help, a crucial skill for aging successfully. Research-based psychological insights. Recent gerontological research reveals several key insights that support this reverse analysis. Sleep disruption as adaptive behavior. Studies show that aging naturally involves lighter, more fragmented sleep patterns. For what families interpret as disrupted sleep may actually represent healthy adaptation to changing sleep needs. Seniors may be naturally shifting toward polyphasic sleep patterns that include quiet, wakeful periods for reflection and processing. Family stress as connection catalyst. Research on family caregiving shows that manageable stress often strengthens family bonds and creates opportunities for meaningful interaction. 7. The moderate stress of managing Nocturia may serve important family bonding functions. Control and health outcomes. Studies consistently show that maintaining areas of personal control correlates with better health outcomes in aging populations. 8. Bathroom independence may serve crucial psychological functions that outweigh the inconvenience of nighttime trips. Chapter 7. The Family Adaptation Framework. Working with natural patterns, emotional intelligence, strategies for families, rather than fighting against Nocturia. Families can develop emotional intelligence strategies that work with these natural adaptations. Strategy 1. Reframe from problem to adaptation. Instead of viewing Nocturia as a medical problem to solve, families can reframe it as evidence of their loved one's intelligent adaptation to aging. This shift in perspective reduces family stress and honors the senior's autonomy. Strategy 2. Use as connection opportunities. Rather than viewing nighttime disruptions as inconveniences, families can use Nocturia-related conversations as opportunities for deeper emotional connection. Those morning check-ins can become meaningful moments of care and attention. Strategy 3. Develop family rhythm awareness. Families can become conscious of how Nocturia is affecting their collective rhythms and make intentional adjustments that support everyone's needs. This might include coordinated sleep scheduling, shared responsibility for nighttime safety monitoring, or family discussions about sleep and aging. Strategy 4. Practice gradual care coordination. Families can use Nocturia management as a low-stakes opportunity to practice care coordination skills they may need for other aging challenges. This includes communication about medical appointments, medication management, and safety concerns. The compassionate observer approach. The most effective family response to nocturia involves becoming compassionate observers rather than anxious fixers. This means observing without judgment. Notice patterns in nocturia episodes without immediately jumping to medical explanations or solutions. What emotional states correlate with difficult night? What family dynamics seem to influence frequency? Asking instead of assuming. Rather than assuming nocturia is purely medical, ask seniors about their subjective experience. How do they feel about nighttime wakeful periods? What goes through their mind during those quiet hours? Supporting rather than controlling. Offer support that enhances autonomy rather than replacing it. This might mean improving bathroom lighting rather than insisting on medical intervention, or expressing interest in the senior's nighttime experiences rather than dismissing them as disruption. Creating emotional safety around aging changes. Families that handle nocturia successfully create emotional safety around aging changes by normalizing the adaptation process. Acknowledging that aging involves many adaptations of which nocturia is just one. This reduces shame and anxiety around individual symptoms, honoring multiple perspectives. Recognizing that seniors may experience nocturia differently than family members observe it. Their subjective experience includes psychological and emotional dimensions that may not be visible to others. Maintaining dignity. Ensuring that discussions and accommodations around nocturia preserve the senior's sense of dignity and agency. This means involving them in decisions and avoiding infantilizing responses. Chapter 8, Beyond the Obvious. The complete emotional picture, what everyone sees versus what's really happening, what everyone sees. An aging adult getting up multiple times per night to urinate, potentially creating safety concerns and sleep disruption for the family. What's really happening? A complex psychological and family adaptation involving autonomy, negotiation, connection, regulation, control, maintenance, and developmental life review work, all organized around one of the last remaining areas of complete personal agency, the developmental perspective. From a developmental psychology standpoint, nocturia emerges during a critical life stage when seniors are working on what Erik Erikson called generativity versus stagnation, and later, integrity versus despair. The quiet nighttime hours often become important spaces for this psychological work. Research shows that nocturia episodes often coincide with life review processes. Those 2 a.m. wakeful periods frequently become times when seniors process memories, work through unresolved relationship, and consolidate their understanding of their life's meaning for. Families who only focus on the physical disruption miss this rich internal experience, the unspoken family negotiations. Every family dealing with nocturia is simultaneously negotiating several unspoken issues: independence versus safety. How much independence should seniors maintain, even when it creates potential safety risks? Individual needs, family impact. How should families balance the senior's need for autonomy with other family members' need for sleep and peace of mind? Present functioning versus future planning. How should families respond to current nocturia symptoms while also preparing for potentially more significant care needs, medical versus psychological? How should families balance medical interventions with understanding the psychological and emotional functions that nocturia serves? These negotiations rarely happen explicitly, but they underlie every family discussion about bathroom scheduling, medication timing, and safety modifications. Chapter 9. The prediction framework. What to expect and when family development patterns around. Nocturia. Based on my analysis of family patterns, I can predict several typical developmental phases. Phase 1. Denial and minimization, months 1 to 6. Families typically start by minimizing nocturia symptoms. Everyone has to get up at night sometimes. This phase serves the function of avoiding confrontation with aging realities, while family members psychologically adjust to changing family roles. Phase 2. Medical solution seeking, months 6 to 18. When minimization becomes unsustainable, families typically turn to medical interventions. This phase provides a sense of agency and control while allowing families to avoid deeper psychological and emotional conversations about aging. Phase 3. Adaptation frustration, months 18-36. When medical solutions prove insufficient or create new problems, families often experience frustration and helplessness. This is actually a crucial developmental phase that can lead to deeper understanding if families receive appropriate support. Phase 4. Acceptance and integration, year 3+. Families that successfully navigate the earlier phases often develop sophisticated understanding of nocturia as one aspect of healthy aging adaptation. They develop family rhythms that accommodate nighttime patterns while maintaining everyone's dignity and autonomy. Phase 5, wisdom development. Long-term, families that approach nocturia with emotional intelligence often develop valuable skills for handling other aging challenges. They learn to balance medical intervention with psychological understanding, individual needs with family concerns, and current management with future planning. Predictive indicators. Families are more likely to develop healthy adaptation patterns around nocturia when they maintain curiosity about their loved one's subjective experience, avoid immediate medicalization of aging changes, practice collaborative problem-solving rather than taking over, develop family communication skills around aging topics, maintain respect for the senior's autonomy and dignity. Families are more likely to struggle with nocturia adaptation when they immediately pathologize aging changes, focus exclusively on medical solutions, take over decision-making without collaboration, avoid conversations about aging and changing family roles, prioritize family convenience over senior autonomy. Chapter 10, the integration, seeing the complete picture, the emotional truth about nighttime urination. After analyzing hundreds of family systems dealing with, here's the emotional truth that 99% of families are missing. Nighttime urination in seniors is rarely just about bladder function. It's about maintaining dignity, autonomy, and connection during one of life's most psychologically challenging transitions. Those 2 a.m. bathroom trips represent autonomy assertions in the face of increasing dependence, connection opportunities for families learning new caregiving roles, control maintenance when other life areas feel unmanageable, reflection time for important developmental life review work, family, rhythm organization around shared concern and care. When this analysis resonates, what you'll start noticing, if this reverse psychology analysis resonates with your family's experience, you'll start noticing several patterns within the next 2 weeks. Week 1 observations, how nocturia episodes correlate with family stress or emotional events. The difference between your loved one's subjective experience and your assumptions about their experience. Ways that nocturia management has become a focus for family caregiving energy. How morning conversations about nighttime experiences reveal more than just bathroom logistics. Week 2 integration, recognition of nocturia as serving multiple family system functions, awareness of how medical focus may be avoiding deeper emotional conversations, understanding of nighttime patterns as potentially adaptive rather than purely problematic, appreciation for the complex psychological work happening during those quiet nighttime hours, the family system's perspective. From a family system standpoint, nocturia often serves as what therapists call an identified problem, a focused concern that allows families to express care, organize around shared purpose, and practice caregiving skills without directly confronting more threatening aging realities. This isn't manipulation or conscious strategy. It's the natural way that families adapt to changing circumstances. The senior isn't deliberately creating bathroom needs for attention, and family members aren't consciously using nocturia to avoid mortality conversations. These are unconscious family adaptations that serve important psychological functions. Research-validated insights. Current gerontological research supports several key aspects of this analysis: autonomy and health. Studies consistently show that maintaining areas of personal control correlates with better physical and psychological health outcomes in aging populations. 8. Bathroom independence represents one of the last remaining areas of complete personal autonomy for many seniors. Family adaptation. Research on family caregiving shows that families who develop collaborative approaches to aging challenges report better relationships and less caregiver stress than families who focus exclusively on medical management. 7. Sleep and aging. Studies reveal that aging naturally involves changes in sleep architecture, including lighter sleep and more frequent awakenings. What families interpret as sleep problems may actually represent normal adaptation to changing sleep needs. Psychological processing. Research on aging and cognition shows that quiet, wakeful periods often become important times for life review and psychological processing. 4. This mental activity during nocturia episodes may serve crucial developmental functions. Conclusion: the perspective shift that changes everything. Moving beyond surface behaviors, the families who successfully navigate aging challenges are those who learn to see beyond surface behaviors, to understand the deeper psychological and emotional functions they serve. Nocturia provides an perfect opportunity to practice this more sophisticated perspective. Instead of asking, how do we stop nighttime urination, families can ask, what autonomy is this preserving for our loved one? How is this organizing our family's care and attention? What emotional needs are being met through these patterns? How can we support the adaptive functions while addressing any genuine concerns? The long-term family impact. How families handle nocturia often becomes a template for how they'll approach other aging challenges. Families who develop emotional intelligence around bathroom autonomy are better prepared for conversations about driving safety, medication management, living arrangements, and end-of-life planning. The skills involved in balancing individual autonomy with family concern, medical intervention with psychological understanding, and present management with future planning are exactly the skills families need for successful aging navigation. Final integration, the reverse thinking revolution. When we flip our perspective on nighttime, urination from problem to adaptation, from medical issue to psychological function, from individual concern to family system dynamic, everything changes. We stop fighting against natural aging processes and start working with them. We stop missing the emotional intelligence opportunities that aging provides and start using them to deepen family connections and understanding. The bottom line, those 2 a.m. bathroom trips aren't just about bladder function. They're about maintaining dignity, practicing autonomy, organizing family care, and creating space for the deep psychological work of aging. When families understand this complete picture, they stop being frustrated by nighttime urination and start being amazed by the sophisticated adaptation it represents. Your family's nocturia experience is not a problem to be solved. It's a developmental opportunity to be understood, honored, and supported. The families who embrace this perspective don't just manage nocturia more successfully, they develop the emotional intelligence skills that will serve them throughout the entire aging journey. They become families who age with wisdom, connection, and mutual respect, rather than families who age with anxiety, control battles, and missed opportunities for deeper understanding. That's the perspective shift that 99% of families are missing, and the one that changes everything about how aging challenges are experienced and navigated. Remember, this analysis is intended to expand understanding of family dynamics around aging, not to replace medical consultation. Always work with healthcare providers to rule out serious medical conditions while also attending to the psychological and emotional aspects of aging experiences.